to infinity and beyond.
This is me. This is how I win.
Were you rushing or were you dragging? Answer!
You're a wizard, Harry.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
No, I am your father.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And here we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back inside the film room. I'm Zach Goins, editor-in-chief, and I am joined by the one and only Johnny Sobchak, alive and well after a raucous trip. Johnny, how are you? Is it good to be back?
It's great to be back. I think every great vacation is just long enough.
I don't know if you could have survived another day in where were you? Inform the people.
We were in Las Vegas.
You were not relaxing on a beach, that kind of just long enough. You were. If it had been another day, we may be looking for a new co-host.
Las Vegas is a city. It's like another dimension. Like it's a shadow realm that you are just sucked into and then spit back out. At its leisure. But I had a good time. It was all good. Nothing too crazy or diabolical or anything like that.
Now, was this a bachelor party? What was the reason for this? Was it bachelor party or was it just a boys trip?
No. So one of my good friends is getting married in August, and so we had this plan for a while. We a good amount of us had already been to Vegas together previously, so it was just kind of logical for us to all go, and it was kind of the right time. I mean, COVID is certainly still alive and kicking, but you would not know that at all by being in Las Vegas. But all of us were vaccinated, and we still brought masks and wore them, whenever it was necessary. So, but yeah, very fun, good food, good drinks, music, all that stuff. Gambling, a little bit of that.
Did you win big?
No. Okay. So I'm not much of a gambler or a betting man in general. But I did my dad gave me $100 to put on black for roulette. And my brother and his wife gave me $50 to put on red on roulette. So I put the 50 on red and it doubled their money. They did land. So they got.
Was this money? Was this like a gift for you, or to do it for them?
So it was what they wanted me to put it for them. So
okay,
yeah.
So you had no money at stake here.
I had nothing at stake. Yeah, I just had to sit and watch, and then so they doubled their money, and then my dad, poor dad, he put it on black, and it did not go. So watched 100 go down the drain, but it is what that's the beast, isn't it?
It is. Well, the extent of my Vegas experience was in high school when I was on my trip to California. We had a layover in Las Vegas. And as Vegas is, like, it's Vegas. So, of course, they had a casino in the airport.
Oh, yeah.
Not like a casino in the airport, but like slot machines in the middle of the concourse. So it wasn't even like a certain area you went to. It was just like everywhere. So like we're sitting in our seats at the gate and there are slot machines next to us. And so my mom played. I was obviously like 15, so I couldn't do anything, but my mom played it and we got in trouble because we were standing behind her watching her like pull the lever on the slot machine, and the security came and like asked us to step back 6 feet so that we weren't in the casino.
Yeah, man.
It was intense, but I'm glad that you had a good time. Is there one particular highlight that's podcast friendly that you'd like to share?
It was all around just so good. We went go-karting one day. which was super fun. It was like high speed go-karts. Like you have to wear like a legit helmet, like a head
Right.
sock underneath the helmet and everything.
Were you gearing up for F9?
Sheesh, man. Hey, we left some carnage out there, so I wouldn't blame anyone for mistaking it for a Fast and Furious set. But that was definitely a lot of fun. Like I said, good drinks, good food, and lots of platonic male bonding.
Well, I'm glad to have you back so that we can get back on the podcast. We're a day late, but that's totally okay. We're breaking down Luca from Disney and Pixar that hit Disney Plus last week. And we are talking Loki episode 2. And again, as always, breaking down the news of the week, the trailers, what we need to talk about to keep you all in the know. But I know we've just heard about Vegas. Johnny, anything else going on? I know that kind of took up most of your time. Maybe I know you've been doing a lot of Q&As on social media while you're waiting at the airport, but any viewing that you've squeezed in or anything else worth mentioning?
Absolutely not. No, unfortunately.
Viewing the inside of your eyelids as you catch up on all the sleep you did not
Oh
have in
man,
Vegas.
I'm gonna sleep like 12 hours tonight, probably. I'm gonna go to bed as soon as we finish recording this.
Well,
but I know you've been up to some stuff.
Oh, I've been up to some stuff. In the last 7 days, I watched 4 Fast and the Furious movies to finish my road to F9. The deed is done. I watched Tokyo Drift, Furious 7, Fate of the Furious, and Hobbs and Shaw. I'd seen Hobbs and Shaw prior, so that was the only rewatch. Everything else was new. So that is 9 Fast and the Furious or FNF adjacent movies in the tank. That's 9 in the last 30 days, I believe. So it's been quite a month for me. And I have my ticket for F9 Thursday night, opening night in Dolby.
Okay.
Gonna be a blast. Shout out to AMC Stubs. I will also be redeeming my AMC Investors free giant popcorn. So we're really gonna be balling out.
Where do you anticipate this new film falling in the rankings?
I know
you've gotten some reaction so far.
Right. It started off very low and then it kind of balanced out, about where it's expected to be. I would say it's a 67% right now on the tomato meter. Okay. But I don't know. I feel like, so from my takeaways here, I know I just said I watched 4 of them, so I have to at least give a little bit of insight, but 5, 6, and 7 was like the golden era. My personal favorite after watching them all was Fast and Furious 6. Okay. But 5, 6, and 7 were the best of the 3. I have a list on Letterboxd and I posted it on my Twitter as well, my official 1 through 9 ranking. I would say this one's probably going to be upper middle, if I had to guess. Fate of the Furious was still good. Hobbs and Shaw, very different than like the mainline franchise. That's obviously more of like the buddy cop espionage kind of thing versus like straight up Fast and the Furious. But I'm excited for it. I have not done this since watching, but I'd like to go back now and like rewatch the trailers for it and just kind of, because other than like knowing John Cena's in it and knowing that Charlize Theron's character carries over from Fate of the Furious, that's pretty much all I know here. But I'm very excited for it. I'm pumped. Next week is going to be Johnny. I know it broke his heart, but Johnny's going to be sitting out next week's pod in exchange for a guest co-host who is a diehard Fast fan, Shaquille Rashad, who you all, if you're a longtime listener, he joined Jake and I on the Other Guys Rewatchables episode a bit ago. So he's a friend of the pod. He's been on before. And when I told him that I was going to see F9, so he like followed along with my thread that I was doing where I was breaking down each movie. And he responded and was like, "When's the next viewing? I'd love to join you." And so I texted him and I sent him, I let him know. I was like, hey man, I'm going to see F9 on Thursday night, 8:20 at South Point. And he responded with a screenshot of his ticket in the same theater. So that's how I knew it was a sign. We had to, Johnny, I know you love these movies, but I didn't want to just like,
Yeah, I'm
I
heartbroken.
had to share the love. Yeah.
That's all right. I'll be back with a vengeance.
Yeah. You'll be back for whatever comes after F9. I'm not sure what we've got on the calendar.
I know Black Widow's right around the corner. The MCU.
Yeah, we will be breaking that down relatively soon, but we'll be seeing it even sooner. I'm excited for that. I know Johnny and I usually try and sneak in. We try and sneak in our flex at the start of every episode, but next Monday, Black Widow. And while we're at it, I'll go ahead and throw out there that I've seen the first 3 episodes of Ted Lasso season 2 as well. So can't say a word about it, but thrilling stuff.
Really? Okay.
That so we got them, but there was no like screener letter or anything. So I'm just playing it extremely safe.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's fair.
It doesn't come out till July 23rd, so we're still a month away.
Yeah, it's a ways away.
So yeah, I'm not gonna risk anything, but there's some upcoming press days for it. So I figured that's probably why they were trying to get some info, a little bit of groundwork out there so that people had something to work with pre-season 2. But this is not going to be long whatsoever. But last week we teased it. I had to wait. The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I mentioned how stupid and idiotic and awful it was last week. I have to like at least just circle back to that just to throw it out there. I'm shocked our friend Josh Martin rated this 2.5 stars. And this is Josh, who loves cinema from the 1930s. So absolute like jaw dropper there. But Johnny, I know you haven't seen the movie, but you read my description. You heard me talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene in this movie where we learn that Morgan Freeman is Ryan Reynolds' father. That's a big reveal, which that was actually something that was pretty funny. And I thought it was going to turn this movie around. And then we have a sequence where we see a flashback of a young Ryan Reynolds, and it's the death of his mother. And they're at like a carnival or a state fair or something. And a full-bodied Italian man, I think that's what he calls him. He's like 275 pounds. Morgan Freeman is narrating this, very specific. He's on the Ferris wheel and he's eating gelato, and the Ferris wheel breaks, and this man, it literally looks like something out of like one of those apps where you can do special effects.
Oh God.
And he goes flying through the air and lands on the mom, and that's how she dies. And it was because, I'm sorry, the man wasn't eating gelato. Ryan Reynolds, as a young child, wanted a specific flavor of gelato, so they had to wait in line longer. And he is like feels guilty that he caused his mother's death because he wanted like, I don't know, peach gelato or whatever. So now gelato is a triggering event for him anytime that it's mentioned. But
sounds hilarious, Zach.
But the thing is, so it's like semi-straight up until that point of like stupid, but like spy action thriller, like we're making dumb jokes, but like we're kind of trying to play it serious. Then this all happened, and I was like, okay, we're finally embracing the stupidity. Like I can work with that if it knows what it is. And then it went straight back to like the spy thriller kind of stuff, and I was like, there's no way that you can like come back from that gelato involved death. Like, and you also have a character named Aristotle Papadopoulos, who is a Greek terrorist played by notable not Greek actor Antonio Banderas.
Hey,
so
Spain, close enough.
Yeah, whatever.
There's some origins there, huh?
There's some like Mediterranean connection.
God,
I just had to get that off the chest.
Well, I'm glad it sounds like it flopped. So I know there was some tell of a potential sequel to this, but hopefully it'll never get made. So
yeah, I think two is enough there. So let's go to another
Speaking
two,
of two.
and that's there we go. We're on the same page. Episode 2, Loki. Episode 2, The Variant. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Let's hear the quick little synopsis of this episode. This is me talking slowly because I did not have it pulled up at the moment, but now we do.
Is clever.
Mobius puts Loki to work, but not everyone at the Time Variance Authority is pleased with his presence. Again, they like to play it close to the vest there with the generic synopses. But Johnny, I know, so we got Flex, we got those screeners back before the first episode. We got the first two. Have you rewatched this since then? Because I, for one, I watched them both early on, and then I watched this again this past week, and I loved it even more the second time. How about yourself?
So no, I have only seen this once. I watched it back to back with episode 1. I guess probably close to 2 weeks ago now. But I wouldn't say, I mean, you've had the benefit of seeing it twice. I think you weren't as high necessarily on the first episode as I was. I absolutely loved it.
Right.
I thought it was the best MCU TV episode yet. And this one, I think pretty much just as good. I did prefer the kind of, I don't know how to describe it. The kind of dumping into the world that you kind of get with that first episode, where you have no idea what the hell is going on, and you're just getting the same information that Loki is getting. You're meeting Mobius, you're doing all that stuff. Now this is really kind of slowing down, and getting into the nitty gritty of almost like it's like a procedural almost. It was shades of like I'm thinking of like Seven from David Fincher, and I know this is funny. I think there has been some mention by the
Johnny, you just love comparing Marvel to these classic cinema.
Well, no, because
like Seven.
The showrunner had mentioned David Fincher and I believe Seven as an inspiration or like a touchstone. And I know people they make these comparisons, and then fans and critics hop on them and run with them and laugh at them or whatever. But this one it genuinely made me think of Seven, because there's a lot of, they're almost like in this big like library, almost like a database, and they're going through all these files together, and you have these two budding headbutts between them, and the personalities clash a little bit, but they're still getting work done and kind of making breakthroughs. And again, a lot of just sitting, having conversation between Tom Hiddleston and as Loki and Owen Wilson as Mobius, and their chemistry is just off the charts. It's so good. The banter, it's always funny, but they still manage to have the right amount of undercurrent of emotion, and it's just great. And you get a little bit again more with this research, with the investigation. You get more information about what's going on, about this variant that is causing havoc, which we found out at the end of last episode was Loki. And in this episode, we find out that it is not just Loki, but a variant of Loki, a variation on, a multiverse, Loki. And I guess I don't know if I was expecting it or not. I had not heard the theories. Of course, we saw both these episodes before anyone else did. So I was anticipating it not to be, Loki as we know him, Tom Hiddleston. I was expecting
we'd get a little Vision playing across from himself, and then Tom Hiddleston would make some joke about it and get everybody all hyped up. And
so I didn't expect that. I expected it to be a different looking man, I guess a woman, something like that, something different. So I felt pleased when that ended up being correct, and I was kind of I was ended up being right on that. But this is just another solid step up on this story, and I can't believe there's 4 episodes left. I'm really excited to see where it goes next. I just hope that it can keep the momentum going, but this is again a good step up.
I'm with you there. This first episode I was very much kind of like wait and see. It was like I know you and Jake and I believe even Josh were all like very high on it. And I don't know. I was like, I enjoyed it, but it was like you said, a ton of exposition dumping, which I'm very good with. Like I'm totally fine with that. But I was like, okay, now we have all this on the table. Let's see what they do with it. There was a lot still to be explored. And so the second episode, the way they kind of continue to go through to different locations, whether it was like the Renaissance Fair or at the end in 2050, at all, and then Pompeii. But I totally see what you're saying about 7, where it's like, okay, we're sitting around looking for clues, waiting. We have our breakthrough.
The music playing, like classical music.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought that this everything that was set up in the last, obviously we didn't get answers for everything yet, but everything that was set up, they did a great job of expanding it and using it just enough to kind of keep everything moving, do it in an effective way, and set up for the next 4 episodes. It's crazy that this is already, we're recording on Monday night, but by the time you're listening to this, we'll be just a day away from being halfway done with Loki. Like 6 episodes goes so quick.
Yeah. But hopefully it's short, a situation of short but sweet. If the next 4 episodes are as good as these first 2, I'm going to be extremely pleased. I am a little bit worried just because so Lady Loki is the Loki that gets revealed in this episode. And it ends with, then this is my only real concern about this next episode, or where the story could go from here, is it ends with Lady Loki coming face to face with Loki, and they have like kind of like a back and forth. And then she goes to escape, and Loki, he's working with the Time Variance Authority. He's working with Mobius, but at this point he's kind of separated from them, and then he goes through and follows Lady Loki to wherever she's going next, and leaves behind Mobius and the TVA. So I'm a little like nervous about what the next episode is going to hold in that respect. Like I love the chemistry and the dynamic between Loki and Mobius. So I'm sure there's probably going to be a little bit less of that in this next one, at least them face to face. I think that and really I'm not even sure what to expect between Loki and Loki, like Lady Loki. I don't know if they're going to have a fight. I don't know if they're going to team up, or she's gonna dump some exposition on us, and there's gonna be some sort of twist, and then it's gonna go.
It's just so hard because like
anything.
Obviously, well, also like remembering that this is like 2012 Loki versus like we want to obviously like say, oh, he went through that because he's going to like try and stop her, but like this isn't the Loki that's gone through all of the character development and come to realize like that he should be good. That this could still very much be a Loki gone bad. And I'm just reading up a quick like Easter egg kind of thing about the second episode. So apparently I didn't catch this. I don't know how quickly you had to pause and zoom in and everything, but once Lady Loki's plan becomes or starts to like go into action, where all the time bombs are going off and we're seeing all the different disruptions in the timeline, there's a TVA screen that shows different locations where she's disrupting the timeline, and on that screen it lists Nowhere, which is from Guardians of the Galaxy, Niflheim, I don't know if I said that right, but that's Hela, her prison dimension from Thor Ragnarok, Vormir, the Soulstone planet from Infinity War and Endgame, obviously, Ego, the living planet and father of Star-Lord, Titan, Thanos' homeworld, Hala, the capital of the Kree Empire, and Asgard and Jotunheim, the birthplaces of Thor and Loki. So we were told that this is going to be the biggest effect on the MCU moving forward. And obviously tons of stuff happens at all of those locations. So who knows the impact that this could have on what we think we know so far about the MCU and what we will find out going forward.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited that you're right. I mean, this could really, it's going to have a big impact. We all know that. But how and just how big, I think is going to be interesting to follow and watch unfold. But Yeah, again, I thought it was great. I think as someone who did enjoy episode 1 a little bit more, and I mean, there's just so much to talk about because you're getting all that information thrown at you. This one is a little bit more low key, no pun intended.
Haha, haha.
Uh, and uh, and so yeah, still great. But I do think I'd give the slight edge to the first episode, and I'm cautiously optimistic about where this is all going. Because again, maybe I liked first episode or two of the other shows, and I really thought those went off the rails. But I am again optimistic that this is going to deliver this week and going forward.
Fingers crossed. Well, let's get into some news from the past week, starting off with some trailers. Only 2 that we're going to talk about. First off, Snake Eyes. We got our first full trailer for this. We'd seen a teaser previously, but this is the G.I. Joe adjacent spin-off prequel. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but the story starring Henry Golding where he's the ninja assassin. Any interest here?
I don't really know what to make of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like,
I hope it's good.
I haven't seen the other 2 G.I. Joe movies. I know they're coming out on 4K next month, shortly before this release. So that's from Paramount. So maybe I'll be able to check those out and see if it's something worth, if it makes me more or less excited for Snake Eyes. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't believe I've heard entirely great things about the G.I. Joe movies. So I'm not really sure what to expect.
It's got your boy Dwayne.
I know that. So that makes it worth seeing in general. But Snake Eyes does not have my boy Dwayne. So
Snake Eyes is not. It does have Henry Golding though, and yeah, I don't know. I think it looks fun enough. I have just no expectations for it, and I feel like it might be something where I just don't even end up seeing it. And there's going to be a bunch of other movies going on around the same time this comes out. So we'll see. But I hope it's good. I mean, I want it to be good, but track record, all that, everything else considered. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it seems sort of like, it just depends on all the vibe that they go with. Like, obviously,
yeah,
like it's not going to go
vibe's kind of hard to pin down. Like,
right. Like I'm getting like part John Wick, part like, I don't know, not like to the extent of Mortal Kombat, but sort of that
giving me some like fast vibes, to be honest. Like,
yeah, I can see that
action
too.
Comedy almost to an extent. Like there's one part, there's just some dumb jokes in this trailer that kind of put me off. Like I was like, there's like one part where he says something like the 3 things of the warrior, and then it cuts to Henry Golding looking up and being like, the 3 what? And then it cuts to like some like action fucking beat. I'm just like, oh brother, like this just let him be badass and cool. Like why do we need to turn him into like this kind of goofy, like stumbling along type of character? I don't know.
The critics' consensus for G.I. Joe Retaliation, the second of the 2 movies, says, though arguably superior to its predecessor, G.I. Joe Retaliation is overwhelmed by its nonstop action and too nonsensical and vapid to leave a lasting impression.
Wow.
So the first one has, I believe, like a 30-something. Second one has a 28% on the tomato meter. So I'm not holding out a ton of hope for Snake Eyes, but we'll see. We'll see. But what I am very excited for, obviously, is Ted Lasso season 2. We got our second trailer for season 2 today, dropping July 23rd on Apple TV Plus. More so, instead of talking about the trailer, I just want, because Johnny still hasn't seen it, I figured you'd knock that out on the flight back, but unfortunately not. But I did have to shout out Ted Lasso because the show, Apple TV Plus, Jason Sudeikis took home a Peabody Award today. Obviously a very prestigious award, but given to them for I believe it was, I don't have the terminology pulled up, but it was for good-hearted humor and inspiration when we needed it most. And the like, I don't remember what they said, but it was like the perfect response to like toxic masculinity, in the way that they present like vulnerability and positivity. So definitely well deserved. Will Ferrell had a good video giving it away to them. So I am very excited to see the Lasso Effect getting some proper recognition, and hopefully that'll carry over into Emmy season and into season 2 as well.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it.
You're running out of days.
Hey, July 23rd or whatever, right? But yeah, it's I mean, it's crazy. It's just, this is like such a universally loved show. I'm like, how could it possibly live up to my expectations? But I'm sure it will. I'm just waiting on it, biding my time.
Well, don't bide too long, because I just want to be able to talk about it with you. I want to get you in on some future Lasso interviews.
Okay.
So
All right.
well, we got to make it happen. But what else beyond the trailers? What's been going on this week in the world of film and television, Johnny?
So we got costumes galore, Zach. Specifically on the DC Comics side of things. Pretty exciting stuff. Some official, some unofficial. As far as the photos, the unofficial stuff. Well, I will say they dropped, and I'm pretty impressed with how they have been promoting the Flash movie lately on social media. They launched the official pages for it on Instagram and Twitter. When production started, they showed some chairs for different actors. And then over the last week, I think it was just shortly after we posted our last episode, we got our first look at the close-up of the chest emblem for the Flash's suit, which looks amazing. Like, it looks sleek, and it looks, almost like futuristic, and it looks, straight, out of the comics essentially, with its own little spin on it. And then we also got our first look at the chest piece for Sasha Calle's Supergirl as well, which was really cool. And that was also in the wake of another post showing Michael Keaton's Batman chest symbol that I believe we talked about in a previous episode. So they've been keeping up with that. And then this past week, they were filming out in London, out on location. Big stuff on, wires and all that, and crowds. And we got to see Bruce Wayne's car, which looks straight out of Batman the Animated Series. Looks amazing. It's just long and sleek and black. Looks awesome. And then Michael Keaton, he's back as Bruce Wayne, first time since the early 90s. He looks, again, straight out Batman the Batman Beyond the Animated Series. The older Bruce Wayne with the gray hair. And he has a face-to-face, at least it looks like here, with Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. And we have Kirstie Clemons as Iris West in costume and makeup as well. And we've seen both those characters before, of course, but they look great. I mean, they look, again, Barry Allen, Ezra Miller's not the blonde, blue-eyed Barry Allen that is in the comics, but he's got the, the jawline, the chin, all that. He looks like a superhero. He's looking, like he might have bulked up a little bit. He just looks great. And then they're on the steps of what looks like a courthouse potentially. I know there's been speculation maybe this is like the end of the movie, and maybe they're finally going to get his dad out of prison, and Bruce Wayne is going to help him and all of that, which I could certainly see that being the case. And then there's also the big thing that was making the rounds was Sasha Calle as Supergirl in full costume on wires, flying around, floating. And she looks awesome. I mean, this design is something, it looks like it's been inspired from a few different things, including Injustice and New 52 and some other comics.
Also, strong connection to like the Henry Cavill suit.
Oh yes, absolutely, good point. And that's something that we saw in the close-up chest piece picture that they posted. It has the same kind of print and Kryptonian writing on the chest as Henry Cavill's suit does. But this one, of course, there's no cape on her. I'm sure they're going to CGI that in after the fact, just like they do with Henry Cavill. So that's going to look really cool. But yeah, she looks great. I mean, she got the short brown hair, and traditionally used to Supergirl having the long blonde hair, but there is, again, versions in the comics and in other mediums where she has that exact same look, and she looks, again, straight out of that. So super exciting. I would love to see official, pictures from the movie, something as a first look, especially. I think it's just, if you're going to be out in public, shooting and it's going to be the first look at a character, I think you should go ahead and just do a full official image of that character beforehand.
Right.
And then it's pretty much
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny that DC is handling this in two separate ways within the same comic book universe.
Yeah, so you have David F. Sandberg of Shazam fame directing Shazam: Fear of the Gods. They're in production. I mean, this is DC's in full fledged. They have the Flash filming. They have Shazam 2 filming. They have Black Adam filming. The Batman is doing some reshoots next month in Scotland. Aquaman is set to start shooting next month. So it's crazy. But you have David F. Sandberg who tweeted this morning, which lifted my spirits and woke me up a little bit as I was getting off the plane. This picture of not just Shazam, but the Shazamly. And they look
Shazamly. I've never heard that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they look badass. They have new costumes. The colors are tuned in. The belts, the little embellishments here and there. The color and the texture and everything else. It looks amazing. You have all the same older actors from the original film, with the exception of now you have the girl who played oh god, what's her name? The older sibling, the older girl. She is now taking over because now when she's up in the actual world, Grace Fulton, who plays Mary Marvel, she is now, I mean, she's a full grown, adult compared to some of the other kids in the cast. But now she's going to be playing herself in both roles, which I think is going to be fun. And Sandberg addressed that on Twitter. So that's exciting, but they all look awesome. The actors look awesome. The costumes look great. Again, it's not like a super dressed up photo, like something you might see from a Zack Snyder production, something he would post up. But it's just a simple behind the scenes, official picture taken by Sandberg himself. And that's enough for me. They look awesome. Did you have any thoughts about that? I mean, we know you liked Shazam a lot. I was a big fan of it as well, but I think that they're on the right track to do some other cool stuff with this. And there's actually the other image of Helen Mirren in full costume, and that was from a distance, a set photo similar to the Flash, but we did see some of that earlier as well. And I'm a little surprised he didn't post something of her too, knowing that she'd be out there
that it was gonna all get out there.
Yeah, but what do you think?
You're right, I did like Shazam quite a bit. I'm currently being attacked by my dog as I am trying to record this, but but Remy's a big Shazam fan as well. But yeah, I mean, I obviously, like has been said time and time again, don't have the comics background like you and Jake, so I'm not really like poised to speak on it as it is to how accurate it is to the comics, but they definitely do. You can tell they look different from the first movie. Love the getting to see all the Shazamily together, because we barely got to see them except for that end sequence. So if they're teasing them already like this, I'm expecting to see quite a bit of them. It'd be kind of redundant to introduce all these heroes and then be like have to come up with some reason as to why they can't all be out there kicking ass together at the same time. We lost our powers or something like that to make an obstacle. But
I think
I'm excited.
I think we're definitely going to see more of them in this movie because in addition to the fact that we got to see them fight in the previous movie, so I think to go back on that and would be a downgrade. But we also know this movie is going to have 3, it seems, villains potentially, between Helen Mirren, of course, Lucy Liu, and then Rachel Zegler, who could also be playing a villain. Seems like she might be, but it's not. None of that's confirmed. But the numbers game, they need everyone they can get on deck. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But in addition to that,
what are you more excited for?
I am more excited about something, Zach, to the surprise of absolutely no one. We mentioned this previously, that there had been rumors, reports, all that stuff, but there's final official confirmation from Venice Film Festival themselves, saying that Dune, this is the first movie that they have announced as part of their selection for the festival this year, and that is going to be Denis Villeneuve's Dune, sci-fi epic, premiering Friday, September 3rd. It is not going to be the opening night film like had been previously speculated and reported. It's not going to be an in competition film. It's going to be out of competition. So no Golden Lion for it,
Boo.
which Warner Brothers had Joker in competition a couple of years ago, and that ended up going on to win the Golden Lion. But it's not unheard of, and it's no indication of anything. As many people have pointed out, Warner Brothers also premiered Gravity at Venice, as well as A Star Is Born just a couple of years ago, year prior to Joker. Those were both out of competition, and those both went on to gross hundreds of millions of dollars and have rampant success with award season, the Oscars, and everything. So it's gonna be really interesting to check that out. And circle on your calendars, folks. Friday, September 3rd. That's gonna be the first time that we hear from the public, from press and all that, about this movie, what the reaction is, what the reviews are. So it's going to be an anxious time. I'm super excited.
Have you booked your ticket yet?
I have not, I might just have to go ahead and submit, press accreditation, see what happens. But it's gonna be fun. And yeah, I mean, if I was living over in Europe, I'd be putting together a plot to get over there. But yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be fun. And then lastly, on a note of, I don't know when the hell, I don't know how Keanu Reeves keeps up with everything that he's got going on. I think John Wick Chapter 4 it started filming potentially, or they are in the process of like figuring all that out. I know that was something where that in the Matrix Resurrections, those were supposed to come out the same day, and now that's no longer the case, of course. But they added Bill Skarsgård recently, as well as Donnie Yen, and now they've added another badass, Hiroyuki Sanada, who some people are probably going to know from things like Westworld, from the Samurai Park in that show, as well as a small cameo in Avengers Endgame. And then most recently, and probably most famously at this point, he played Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movie from a couple months ago, where he was, again, badass, doing some stunts, kicking ass. And I would imagine we're going to see some more ass kicking in John Wick Chapter 4. No real clue what kind of character he's going to be playing. Good guy, bad guy. But I hope it's a sizable role. I think he's getting put into these roles where he doesn't have like more than a handful of minutes of screen time. And I think as an actor and as a performer, he could, he can deliver more than that. He can last longer than that. So, what do you think, Zach? I mean, you had your thoughts on Mortal Kombat, of course, but
right. There's no thoughts aside on Mortal Kombat. What the big takeaway is that there was like insane action. Yes. So I'm not opposed to that being carried over from Mortal Kombat to John Wick Chapter 4, because that's definitely something on the Venn diagram of insane action. Those movies are one singular circle.
Right.
But this article's from June 2nd, so obviously a few weeks ago, but it says that John Wick Chapter 4 will soon begin filming in France. So I don't know if soon was 19 days ago, if that means that it started, but it is on the cusp of filming, if not. But I don't think I had read this previously, but he's now in France and staying at the posh George V Hotel. I assume that's the fifth. The movie will film exteriors in Paris, notably by the Seine River, and will include scenes at an iconic bridge that was previously featured in Steven Spielberg's Munich, among other films.
Okay.
The production, which will first shoot in Berlin, will film in France for a couple weeks. So
going international.
We're getting to see. That's very exciting for me. I love that about the third movie, like seeing the different. Oh God, Remy's got his squeaky toy. Seeing the different continental hotels, whether it was in the Middle East or in Italy. So I'm excited to kind of continue to explore the universe there.
Yeah. I wasn't super crazy on Chapter 3, Parabellum, but the people they're adding to this movie, I can't help but get excited about it. I hope it's good. But another movie I was hoping was good, Zach, to get to our main course here, is Pixar's Luca.
We can go anywhere, do anything. We just gotta stick together.
We underdogs have to look out for each other, right?
Underdogs. This is gonna be the best summer ever. We'll ride down every road. See the whole world together. It'll be amazing. But there's just one thing.
Whoa, wait! Did you see that?
No one can find out.
Which, after much delay, after much debate about how it was going to get released, when it was going to get released, is finally on Disney Plus, available there to watch at no additional cost. It's not Premier Access, similar to Pixar's Soul from the holiday season. This was a, not necessarily one of the most anticipated films of the year this summer by any stretch, but I think Pixar is always someone that we keep an eye on and get excited for.
That it is. And you're right, like this movie, it kind of snuck up on us, I feel like, when we all knew Soul was coming, and then it was kind of like, wait, there's another one in 6 months. And then obviously the whole like going to Disney Plus kind of changed things and made it even more like as under the radar as a Pixar movie can be. But I still very much enjoyed it. We'll get into that. I don't know about you. You kind of you threw me off guard when you said that you hoped to enjoy it or whatever. So I'm interested to hear more about that. But quick rundown on the film starring Jacob Tremblay, Jack Dylan Grazer, speaking of Shazam earlier, Emma Berman, Maya Rudolph, Giacomo Gianniotti. That's a fun Italian name there. Probably butchered that. And Jim Gaffigan. Those are all the voice cast there. Currently at 89% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 88% audience score. I myself am sitting at an 83. Johnny, do you have a number that you're willing to reveal at this point? I know you're hot off the press right before we hopped on to record.
Maybe like a 63.
63. Oof. I mean, it's not bad, not awful, but
yeah, significantly
lower than the critics, the audience, and myself. So we'll have to explore. We'll have to explore that. But quick plot rundown: set in a beautiful seaside town on the Italian Riviera, Disney and Pixar's original feature film Luca is a coming-of-age story about one young boy experiencing an unforgettable summer filled with gelato, pasta, and endless scooter rides. Luca, voiced by Jacob Tremblay, shares these adventures with his newfound best friend Alberto, Jack Dylan Grazer. But all the fun is threatened by a deeply held secret. There are sea monsters from another world just below the water's surface. Bum, bum, bum.
Very ominous there.
Very, very ominous. They buried the lead there, sticking that in at the very end of this synopsis.
Right.
But, you mentioned it off the top. Pixar, you come to expect greatness. You know what you're going to get going into it. Do we even need to talk about, the quality of animation, the beauty of it? Because at this point, that's a given. If anything, it was just the subject matter itself that lent itself to being like even more visually appealing. Because, you've got your like beautiful seaside town, your water, your beaches, your bright colors. I think that's a quick thing we can agree on to get that part of the conversation out of the way. I don't know about you.
Can we agree on it, Zach?
I would imagine so, unless you have
I'm not going to deny the quality of animation. I mean, it's Pixar. We know that. They're delivering on that front. It's beautiful location. It lends itself to beauty. I mean, it's as we said, the Italian Riviera, but also, and we saw this in the trailers, we saw it in the posters, all the promotional stuff. It is a different look compared to other Pixar movies. It doesn't even really look like a Pixar movie, to some degree. I think the character models, the style, the world, it doesn't really have that same. In some instances it does, but I think overall it doesn't have quite the same, almost like photo real look that some of the other ones have. Your Soul, for example, this movie and that movie look totally different. And that's totally, I mean, that works. I think that works in its favor. But for me, I couldn't help feeling like it was almost like it was almost distracting. Like it was like, okay, this is not like, I feel like I'm watching another studio's movie. Like I'm not even sure what studio, but like it didn't feel like a Pixar movie. And I think
I agree with that, but I disagree with the effect of it. Like I
Yeah.
loved that it wasn't, they didn't look like they could be in The Incredibles or in Soul or,
Right.
In these other, they've kind of come to create, Coco even. Like their humans kind of look all the same style.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see that and see that they mixed it up a bit.
Right. Which again, just I guess my personal preference, but I think that kind of is the theme of this movie for me though, is that as far as my enjoyment, my criticism, like it just feels a little off. Like it doesn't feel like Pixar like at their best, or like at their, and I'm not saying this needed to be the best Pixar. I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting that going into it, but it feels so slight. And people can say it's light and fun, and it's it's a kind of a change of pace.
Hey, that's what I had written down there. Light, fun, good change up.
Yeah, so it valid, but also no, because
I mean, go ahead.
because look, Pixar is a very well-known, well-respected brand at this point. Yes, they've had some misses. Yes, they've had some missteps.
Cars.
Everything from Brave to Cars 2 to The Good Dinosaur. Some more forgettable films, some films that people are more critical of than others. But when you have so many classics and masterpiece level films, from Ratatouille to Inside Out,
Hell yeah,
the Toy Story films, regardless of how you feel maybe about Toy Story 4, Coco, is another recent one, Soul, I even really liked Onward last year. I know, that again, that's a lesser one in a lot of people's eyes, and I wouldn't put it up near the top or anything, but I enjoyed Onward more than this. I thought that Onward had a little bit more going on for me as far as, I guess, my own taste and like what I was enjoying or like surprised by it. Maybe subverted my expectations a little bit compared to this one, which was, I felt just kind of rode exactly the line where I thought it was going to, and ended up exactly where I thought it was going to. And in that respect, I had a hard time staying engaged with it, because it never felt like it was going to try and surprise me or do something different or be bold. I think that what we have in this movie has been done before, and it's been done better than what we get here. I know there's been some comparisons to Studio Ghibli where maybe there's not really an express villain, or it's not really about the plot. It's more about like a feeling and a location and a relationships between, the main, couple characters, which again, totally true. But I've seen those other movies. I know the kind of vibe that people are talking about, and I think it's been done better in those. And I don't think that this is up to par with what I would expect or hope for from Pixar. Not a bad movie, just right middle of the line. Like if I had never seen this, I would have been fine, and if I never see it again, also fine.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I don't know. I feel like obviously it's been a long time since Pixar got started, back in 95 with Toy Story, and then you have Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, a bunch. What they got started with was light, fun adventures, creative, original stories. Toy Story 1 is 82 minutes, I think. This was 135, an hour 35. So I don't know. I feel like this was very much it was like a channeling.
I could have done with even less than that.
This was channeling back to the roots of the studio in a way. Which I guess now that I'm saying that, you could see that as a negative, being this is you should be better than this by now. but like in the sense of like
Yeah.
just being something that was, like you said, light and fun.
Yeah.
You're just going there. Oh my God, child. This dog is insane. But Remy's got me off my train of thought. He just wants me to talk about Ratatouille.
Back
But
to something good.
yeah, I still very much enjoyed it because, you know, you're here for, I loved all the characters. I don't know if love, but I really liked all the characters. I was able to like, when they had sort of like, yes, stereotypical like falling out kind of, where there are three, two get closer, one gets jealous, but they did it in a way where I could see where everyone was coming from, you know. So it wasn't like, you know, I'm thinking like Harry Potter in the fourth one, where like Ron and Harry have that feud and Ron's just jealous because he thinks Harry put his name in the goblet, and then it's like very clearly like Ron is in the wrong. You know, like Alberto was just like, that was his friend, and then like it felt very authentic, and I could see where everyone was coming from, and so that made me sort of look past like, okay, this is stereotypical, but it's also authentic and real. But there was no like big Incredibles level like save the world kind of thing.
I mean,
it was just a very, again, I don't mean to keep coming back to it, but light and fun is like the definition of this movie. And of course there's like obviously the great like the the summary at the end, some people, they'll never accept him, but some will, and he seems to know how to find the good ones. Like, this movie's so gay in coming out in Pride Month.
There's been some discourse around that, Zach.
Well, the whole like, obviously like the whole
gay or not to gay.
Right, like the director has come out and said like, they are not gay, this is platonic, they are children.
Right.
Like,
and I don't think that's the point. Like, I don't think that anyone's like anyone. Right. I don't think anyone's saying that they are, but I think it's very a clear parallel.
Right, to like the coming out, the whole like revealing you're a sea monster is the same as coming out. Like that's the whole like metaphor there. But I wish that like, obviously no one is like, oh yeah, I think these like 11-year-olds are so gay. Like, I don't think that was like when people said it's gay, I don't think that's what they meant. You know, I don't think it's like these 11-year-olds are in love and like sexually active, you know, like that's so dumb to, so like I'm not like upset that he came out and said that, but I feel like he didn't need to come out and be like, guys, I promise it's not gay, you know, like that's weird that he did that.
I feel like it, doesn't it? And also, you know, there's also been some discourse around the fact that this is a free Disney Plus, you know, film. I mean, I can see why. I don't think that this was, you know, and I feel bad saying it, but like, I don't think you didn't need to see this in a theater. Like, you didn't need to see it on the big screen. It's just such a slight film, and like, even just the writing and I mean, there's a good message here, and I think it's genuine, but you know, some of the humor I thought was a little bit crude, especially compared to some of the other Pixar movies, are a little bit more like childish, I suppose. I
will say though, like the reason that like I'm very much okay with it just being like a lighthearted, enjoyable summer adventure is that, you know, coming after Soul, which was obviously so existential and deep and profound, and then even Onward before that, being like, yes, there was the adventure part of it, but like the super emotional, like tug at your heartstrings father-son relationship story, like it, I feel like Pixar was due for the change up to kind of get back to something like this, where, you know, not everything has to be like an Inside Out level, like crush your heart kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. I guess I was expecting, like, well, even then I wasn't really expecting it, because I had seen the trailers and I had seen everything else, the promotional material, and I was just like, not really clicking with me. Don't really have high expectations for it, but at the same time, it is Pixar, and you give them benefit of the doubt. I did that with Onward last year. I thought, hey, not doing a ton for me, but I'm gonna go see it. I hope it's good. And I was pleasantly surprised, and it won me over. And really, I thought it was very good. This, it never that connection never really happened, unfortunately. So, the whole time I was really watching, it was just let's do something else. Like, let's have something a little bit, more unique, or something a little bit more challenging or interesting with the plot or the characters. But it was all pretty paint by the numbers.
I will say, can we at least agree that while the villain was not like a genuine bad guy, he was like, oh, I hated him so much. The bike rider, he was so annoying.
Yeah, he was super annoying. But again, I thought that the stuff with him, like, he was annoying, but like not in like a, ooh man, I hope he gets what he deserves kind of way. It was almost like, why did they write him like this? Like, this is so kind of weird, and like, I don't know. But again, it is what it is. I think kids, you could throw this on for kids. They'd get a kick out of it. Good message.
That is a good, yeah. I mean, when we talked about it with Soul, like, I don't think many kids enjoyed Soul at all, if I had to guess. This is very much the opposite, where the kids will eat this up. There is a talking cat, but there's a squinting cat in this movie.
Ooh, big if true.
Where does this, before we wrap up on Soul, it feels kind of like this is going to be a light and fun discussion of it versus to keep it in line with the movie. Where, if you had to guess, I think we're 23. We're 23 deep now, maybe. I might be getting that confused with Marvel. But is this middle? Is it lower mid? Is it upper mid? Is it, how do you see this falling? This is the 24th movie. Okay,
yeah. This is certainly, I think, without question, this is lower Pixar for me. I think I'm not going to equate it to something like Cars 2, which I think is just an egregious film. With any, without an ounce of heart or, good message or, some sort of strong theme in that movie. But I really do think this is kind of like a Brave or The Good Dinosaur level Pixar movie. Nothing you haven't seen before. Nothing that is really going to challenge you too much. But I appreciate that. I guess, they were trying to do something different, offer a little bit change of pace, and still come through with a strong message. I mean, it seems to be connecting with people, and I think that at the end of the day, I mean, that's what matters. But yeah, I put it right down there with, even Monsters U, The Good Dinosaur, Brave, maybe A Bug's Life, kind of right around there as well. But maybe a little bit above that.
Put some respect on a classic.
Bug's Life hasn't aged super well. But Finding Dory, I don't know how people feel about that. I would put Finding Dory above this for sure. But yeah, I'd say it's probably bottom 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah, so I'm looking at my current letterbox.
I mean, they have so many good movies, man.
Right. That's like, with Pixar, it's like top 10 could all be interchangeable within like top 5. I'm looking at my letterbox. So with Luca, this would be the 19th. So there are some that I'm missing. I haven't seen Cars 2 or 3 because I didn't like the first one, so I didn't bother. Haven't seen Brave, Good Dinosaur, or Monsters U. But, and some of the, like, a bunch of those that you listed off were the ones that are in your bottom tier. So among my 19 now, I'd say this is lower mid. It's not bottom of the barrel, but it's below the 50% line, I would say. But I still very much enjoyed it. I gave it an 83 out of 100. I gave it 4 stars. So
that's strong.
That again speaks to the quality of Pixar as a whole. So can't be upset about that when everything's a banger.
Yeah. No, hey, we move. I don't know what their next film is, but I want to say maybe Turning Red. What the hell the name of that?
Yeah, Turning Red is next. That's March
And-
11,
and Lightyear.
2022. Lightyear
Lightyear's
is
next
June
summer.
17, 2022. So
Okay. I'm really excited to see another original at least. And Turning Red. I
right,
think, has
that
really
was a
fun
bit
timing.
like that's been a great stretch here, regardless of what you think of the movies, just like for creativity, because like
Yeah.
we had Onward, Soul, Luca, obviously 3 originals, and then
Yeah.
but prior to that, it was like Toy Story 4, Incredibles 2, Coco, Cars 3, Finding Dory. So of those 5, only
We're
one of
moving
them
in the
was
right
an
direction,
original.
hopefully.
So yeah,
And Lightyear, I think again that could be a fun twist on that world and that character and story. So I'm looking forward to that. It's their first sci-fi movie, and I'm sci-fi.
oh, we know, Johnny.
Yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And
There you
folks,
have it, indeed.
it's worth if you think you're gonna like it, if you like what you've seen from it, I would say go ahead and give it a shot. I have a hard time thinking anyone's gonna hate this. Like I didn't hate it, it just didn't really click with me. But yeah,
I obviously am higher up on it than Johnny. I would say it is there. It is on Disney Plus. You might as
Right.
well check it out, and I believe you will, like Johnny said, at the very least, be like pleased and entertained. You may end up liking it even more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 63 from Johnny, 83 from me. So I'd say that's inside the film room approved. So we'll give it the old stamp there. But thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it, you listeners, week in and week out. We do it all for you. We love the support, interacting with us on here, on social media, following us, all that stuff. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Like I said, on Twitter, keep tabs on us there, giveaways, polls, memes, all the good stuff. Instagram as well. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube where you can find the podcast episodes to listen to. And those accounts can be found at Inside Film Room. And we have, next week, you have Shaquille Rashad as your guest with F9. So I'm going to miss being on here. I'll really have to be in my bag when I come back. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about, but until next time, I will be peacing out.
Johnny, you will be missed. There's always time if you want to squeeze in 10 Fast and the Furious movies between now and next Sunday. You are more than welcome to. But I'll leave that one up for you. And until then, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, YouTube. You name it. Exactly. And like Johnny said, next week, F9 with special guest Shaquille Rashad, Shaq in a Box will be here. And we hope you join us in the name of family.